The Brooklyn Nets just absolutely embarrassed the Philadelphia 76ers in what started off as an extremely anticipated matchup where both franchises had so much to prove on the court. The hype surrounding this game quickly faded out as the Brooklyn Nets were not even close to playing around in this one and quickly silenced the Wells Fargo Arena that started off the game unloading boos towards Ben Simmons as the Nets beat the Sixers by 29 points and never really looked back after they were leading. This was the first game between the Sixers and the Nets since the infamous Ben Simmons for James Harden trade, and as expected, this game from the tip was extremely chippy between the two sides. KD got into it with Embiid early, the fans were obviously into it, Curry stared down the Sixers bench after nailing a three, and this was practically everything we'd hoped for in the first matchup between these two. The Brooklyn Nets did, however, come away with the last laugh, and I think this is the starting to be something special for this team, as this last week is the closest we've seen this team at 100%, and it showed just how much potential this team has. They were able to pull off this incredible win without the cornerstone in that deal in Ben Simmons, and that just has to tell you who I think won this trade. And yes, I do know that this was just one game, and I definitely know that the next time these two play, the 76ers will put up much more of a fight, but on top of the already seemingly overpowered team, the Nets are with Kyrie, KD, and company. Ben Simmons at 100% and playing is most definitely going to be guarding Harden or Maxey, whatever the team decides, and him being one of the best perimeter defenders in the entire NBA is going to make their life hell, especially in a 7-game series, and they already struggled in this one without him on the floor. Also, only a small percentage of people who watch my videos are actually subscribed, so if you end up liking this video, consider subscribing. It's free and you can always change your mind. Enjoy the video. This game is definitely looking like the start for the Nets to finally turn things around in Brooklyn, as not only are they starting to play with a way more consistent lineup, they're hopefully getting Simmons back soon. They have the third easiest remaining schedule in the entire NBA. They also have an extremely motivated Kevin Durant, and we saw just that last night, looking like his usual MVP self, and Kyrie Irving, who just had arguably the most efficient game in the entire history of the NBA. Starting with Kyrie Irving, it's unfortunate he still won't be able to play in home games, but what he's been able to do as of late reminded everyone he's still one of the best scorers in the NBA. In that absolutely historical performance against the Charlotte Hornets, Kyrie managed to score 50 points, record 6 assists, a steal, and a block, while hitting 15 of his 19 field goals and 9 of his 12 three-point attempts. To break down just how impressive this game was, in just 3 seasons with the Nets, which was just 91 games, and that makes this just that much more special, Kyrie has already recorded 3 50-point games, and no other player in franchise history has more than one. He now has 9 40-point games, which is now second in franchise history, just behind Vince Carter, who racked up 17, and this was reported to be the most efficient 50-point game in the entire history of the NBA in terms of true shooting percentage. And to make this analytic even better, he was so efficient he literally broke analytics as a whole, as his true shooting percentage was 101.3%. He is also the third player ever to score 50 points on fewer than 20 shots, joining just Adrian Dantley and Willie Burton. And to finish it all off, the only other guards in NBA history to ever have multiple games of 50 points shooting 75% is an extremely exclusive list of just Kyrie Irving and Michael Jordan. This game single-handedly explained the scoring greatness of Kyrie Irving, and I loved every single minute of it, speaking that Kyrie Irving has been my favorite player of all time since he stepped foot into the NBA. Kyrie is capable of scoring 30 plus on any given night, and he has paired alongside Kevin Durant, who is arguably one of the greatest assist scorers of all time. Just like Kyrie, on any given night, if he's feeling it, there is practically nothing you can do to stop him. And when the game is on the line, you are most likely picking KD out of any player in the NBA to take that last shot for you to win the game. We all know just how good this duo can be, as there is reason surrounding the hype behind these two for quite some time now. The only issue is their ability to consistently stay on the floor. But what makes this team so special in my eyes are the pieces surrounding this duo on both sides of the floor. Seth Curry is an incredibly slept on pickup for this team, as it just adds to the amount of depth at the guard position, especially with the uncertainty of Kyrie's availability, and he put up a fantastic performance last night as well. He put up 24 points in just 27 minutes, and people often forget this was his revenge game against the 76ers as well, as he also shot 71% from the field, which is just absurd, and had a game high of 5 steals. Drummond has also been a fantastic pickup in this deal as well, for not only his work on the glass, but his defensive presence is also going to be huge for this team, especially going up against Embiid, even though I don't think he's going to be able to stop a guy like Embiid in any facet with the way he's been dominating, but he is the best option that this team has to slow him down, being one of the few true bigs this team has. Bruce Brown is going to continue to be a great role player that does all the little things so well for this team, who also just consistently has very efficient games in his role, shooting nearly 50% from the field on the year. Dragic and James Johnson are both key vets off the bench. Claxton is an extremely solid bench center to go to split minutes with Drummond, and I've already talked about just how insane Patty Mills is coming off the bench for this team with all of the experience and talent that he has on top of the way he's been playing this season, which makes this team so incredibly stacked. So make sure you guys check out that video after this one. And then Blake Griffin and Aldridge, on top of everyone on this team, are just solid older vets who have so much experience in the NBA, and when you have guys like those at the bottom of your rotation, your team is truly special. Lastly, I obviously wanted to finish the video off by talking about just how much Ben Simmons is going to contribute to this team. The reason why things got terrible with him in Philly was because the 76ers' success genuinely relied upon Simmons' ability to shoot the ball, as he was the starting point guard, and teams were zeroing in on his inability to shoot in the playoffs, absolutely exploiting them to the point where it made it so difficult for them to have any success whatsoever. That put an insane amount of pressure on a guy who already didn't have the most amount of confidence, and we all know the rest of that story on how it played out. On this Nets team, however, that storyline couldn't be farther from reality, as the last thing you want for this team is for Ben Simmons to be shooting threes because of the overpowering amount of talent you have in Kyrie, KD, and Seth Curry alone. Instead, Simmons is finally in a position where all he needs to do are the things that he excels at in the NBA, and that is his top of the league finishing ability around the rim, his ability to be deadly running the fast break, and the most important attribute of it all is his ability to play smothering defense on the opposing team's best player. He can guard 1 through 5, no question, and I have the utmost confidence in him to be able to do these things at that level he did for the 76ers, and even if he has some hiccups here and there, this team is so good it won't matter. This is simply just talking about Simmons near the bare minimum of what I think he can accomplish with the weight off of his shoulders shooting the ball. Maybe a relaxed Ben Simmons is all he needs to hit his occasional 3, which we have all seen him do in practice. But again, on top of all of this, he has never been surrounded by this many incredible shooters that I think are going to take his game to that next level, and we may be blessed to watch the best version of Ben Simmons we have ever seen. The amount of lineup combinations that this team can come up with are ridiculous to say the least on the amount of spacing this team can have, and this is going to leave the paint wide open for him to do whatever he pleases, and when he has this type of spacing, you can't deny he won't be able to do phenomenal things. Not only do I think the Nets won this deal right now, and that will all depend on who wins the chip this year, but on top of how much better this deal made this team this year, this also made the future of the Nets just that much brighter as well, with the first round picks they got and the age difference between the two stars, as Simmons is just 25 years old and he's signed through the 2025 season, while Harden is 32, and even though his future is probably going to be with the 76ers, it isn't certain yet what he'll decide to do with his player option for next year. That's going to be all for today's video. Let me know down below in the comments if you think this Nets team is going to win the championship and why. As always, if you enjoyed this video, be sure to hit that like button to help this video get shared across YouTube's algorithm, and subscribe to my channel if you want to see more NBA videos like this one that I will be posting multiple times per week. Thank you all for watching, and I hope you all have a great night.